On cam ready in 3, 2, 1.
This is Unknown to Known, an on-cam ready presentation. I'm Jamie Maglietta. Thanks so much for watching or listening on your podcasting platform of choice. I have these two QR codes here. One is to the podcast on Apple, Unknown to Known, and also to my other podcast, Think Like a Producer. Both of them are on my YouTube channel as of now, but this conversation may change my strategy and it could change yours. We are talking about YouTube. Today's guest is Steven. You may recognize him from the Riverside FM platform. If you use Riverside like I do, he's a familiar face. And when I met him at Podfest, I felt like I knew him because I see him almost every day whenever I'm recording in my Riverside. So I invited him on the show to help you navigate this new media space, especially YouTube. Steven is now fully devoted to being an independent creator on YouTube. He has over 200,000 subscribers, offering tech advice and shortcuts. We get into his growth strategy in this conversation, so you don't want to miss that. I don't want to, take any longer to get to him. So here's our conversation. I do screen shares, so you're aware.
Sure.
So if I'm like popping your stuff up, I don't want you to be caught off guard.
That's all good.
All right. Steven, thanks so much for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jamie.
Now, I introduced you a little bit in the setup, but why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you're up to now?
Yeah, so I recently went independent as a creator, and so I focus a lot on my YouTube channel, which has grown to over 200,000, but I do podcasting, which I've done for years, and I have a shortcuts community, which is where you can join and learn about automation and iPhone shortcuts, and all of those things together can make a creator business. And so trying to do all that, and I love doing it.
Yeah, that's so fun. I mean, a lot of people know your face. So do you think that that really helped you grow your own independent channel? That relatability and recognition?
Well, so the biggest part of, I guess, where the journey started was
Yeah.
I started the Apple Insider podcast back in 2015 and then came back again in 2020. And there was I had pretty good listenership, and that was very like Apple tech centric people. And so I kind of developed or grew a core audience from there where people started following my work, but then didn't do anything for a while because I was working other full time jobs. We all have stuff we're doing. And then when I joined Riverside in 2022, I wanted to start trying to grow my own YouTube channel with concerted effort. And so I started doing that while also making videos for Riverside full time. And thankfully, I was kind of figured out my personal channel and what started appealing to an audience. I would say it grew kind of side by side, but then surpassed it. And so my personal channel started growing even faster and was able to kind of jump off and do that for my full time thing.
That's amazing. So let me pull up his YouTube while we're talking about it, guys. When I first met Steven in person, we were at Podfest.
Yeah.
And he was speaking about his YouTube experience. And I was just so impressed with the journey because I kind of fangirled out a little bit, Steven, because I see you all the time on my Riverside platform. So when
Yeah.
I saw you in person, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Steven. Like, I know him. Um, and I'm sure that that really does help as you're building relationships and building out your community. So before we dig into like your full-time journey, I'd love to focus on where you are right now. The fact that you said you have 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, there's a lot of people listening that are probably thinking, oh my gosh, how? So you said you started YouTube when?
So 2022 is concerted effort. So about 4
Yeah.
years ago.
And so what he talked about at Podfest was really like that growth, YouTube as a way to push your thought leadership out there using thumbnails. Tell us, like, walk us through your thumbnail strategy, because when I come to your page and I'm like, wow, how does he do it? Is it a lot of AI, or do you like ship this out for your thumbnails? Because I get questions on thumbnails quite often.
Yeah, so I do everything myself when it comes to my YouTube channel and podcast. I make the thumbnails. I've used AI on like two thumbnails. Like if you scroll up a little bit, there's one where I look like Cyclops and I'm like stuff shooting out of my eyes. I used a Google
Oh, where is
Gemini
that?
to add that.
Got it.
That was it. But every other thumbnail I've done myself, and everyone has to figure out their own process. Graphic design is not a strength for me, and so thumbnails were kind of the bigger challenge at first. But you put your face on every thumbnail. That's something, or on most thumbnails, that's what I try to do. If you're talking about a product or something, I try to focus on that. But basically, right when I hit record for my videos, I'll cheese at the camera basically, like I'll smile or I'll point or do something, and then I'll either hold up a phone or something else. And then that's my literally while it's recording video, I'll just pull those screen grabs later out of Final Cut. And then I use an app called Pixelmator Pro, which is just it's Apple's actually now kind of graphic
Mhm.
Photoshop app. And I just make the thumbnail there. And there's different strategies. People say like, oh, your thumbnail shouldn't be complicated; they need to be
Mhm.
simple. Honestly, I think it really depends. I've had very complicated thumbnails, like when I talk about iOS features. So when iOS 26 came out, what I did was took a bunch of screenshots on my phone in Pixelmator. I would literally cut out certain things, menus and features, and I overlaid a bunch of them on the thumbnail. It was a pretty busy thumbnail, but I'll also A/B test thumbnails, meaning you can give YouTube multiple, and YouTube will see which one responds the most or which one audience responds to the most. And those busy ones will sometimes win out. Other times they don't. So I would say don't follow something, any piece of advice 100%. You have to experiment. And that's the biggest deal is that's what helped me find out how to grow in the early days was
Mhm.
experimenting with topics, experimenting with thumbnails and titles, just trying different things. And that's my strategy.
Mhm. Testing is so important. As
Yeah.
a producer, I've always tested. If we had a show that was airing and it was breaking news, you're testing out new ways to bring that content forward so that the audience can engage. But testing in this new media space has been exciting for me at least because there's so much data. I'm using VidIQ to kind of navigate. Do you use like a TubeBuddy or anything like that? Do you recommend those types of tools too?
Those tools are helpful for a lot of people. I have not used any of them pretty much at
Wow.
all. And a lot of people actually dive deeply into their metrics on their
Mhm.
YouTube channel to help them, adjust their strategy. I really don't do that either. I will look at, did this video get a lot of views? Was there a lot of engagement? Did people like it? Do more like that. That's kind of my
Mhm.
strategy. The one place I will say which is helpful is in YouTube Studio. If you go to analytics and you go to content, there's two little boxes that say videos your audience watches and channels your audience follows.
Mhm.
And I think those are the two pieces of information that I'll return to often just to see like what are people wanting to watch right now. No matter what topic you do, even if you make evergreen content, meaning, maybe you're talking about science and the topic is, those videos will be lasting for months and years. You're not doing something trending like talking about the 2026 Oscars. Even those videos, it's helpful to frame it around something that people are interested in right now. This way, your video and your channel can get a little more traction, and people will start to look at you for kind of current information as well as evergreen. And that's something I try to balance. I'll make some videos that are evergreen. Like I have a getting started with iPhone video. It was my just recently first video to hit 1 million views. I posted that 3 years ago. But it was an evergreen piece of content, meaning people keep coming back to it, people keep finding it in search results. And so I did a follow up and I did one for
Mhm.
Apple Watch. That one's performing pretty well, but I'm not worried about how it performs today. That's a long term play. Others, I'll do something that's right now, like, oh, Apple just announced a new iPad. I'm going to make a video talking all about those features. So, kind of balancing that current topic and trend with evergreen content and looking at what people are interested in right now using those two pieces of data from the YouTube studio, and I go from there.
That's great. Great advice, especially for people that are listening and think, "Goodness me, I really wanna throw my hat in the ring on YouTube." We talked to Latasha James last year, and she was even saying that some of the videos well, actually, a lot of the videos that people find her on are those evergreen videos that she did years ago.
Mhm.
And there's just that long tail effect with YouTube, which is why I constantly tell people, if you're gonna create on YouTube, you wanna think evergreen topics versus news. Now, if you're going to do news, you tell me if you agree. But if you're going to do newsy topics, it's probably best to like be there every day, sharing like this is what's happening. These are the topics, the trends versus, once in a blue moon you pop on when there's breaking news. I mean, there's strategies that can be applied. I think it's different for every type of niche and creation and creator. But any tips that you would give for those that are trying to figure out, they're just starting right now and they're like, how do I do this?
If you're looking at news, yes, frequency and consistency is really the key there. And so if that was my personal goal, I might rethink my workflow and how I do things to not so much focus on production quality,
Hmm.
video, audio, and editing, but maybe more focus on providing the most value and offering something different than just the headlines, because people can get headlines anywhere and everywhere. They can search for that. But if you're wanting to do news, can you offer some kind of commentary or analysis that someone else is not doing it? And then
Mhm.
figure out how you can deliver that consistently and quickly. So
Yeah.
making long form videos every day, that could definitely help you grow. That's a lot of work, but I would try to do maybe 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at the least once a week. And that's a growth for anyone trying to
Mhm.
grow on YouTube long form, at least once a week, a new video once a week. YouTube rewards that kind of consistency, and your audience will reward that. If they
Mhm.
have an expectation that they'll see a new video every Friday from your channel, that starts developing in their mind like, I'm going to look for that every Friday. And so that consistency is key. News, again, depending on your niche, depending on what you're covering,
Mhm.
maybe focus on speed and commentary analysis, something like that. Or if you're doing evergreen content like you're talking about, then I might think a little bit more about production value, making longer videos, because they're going to be sticking around for a longer time. Whereas the news,
Mm.
people are probably not going to be watching the November 2025 news today in January or February
Yeah.
2026. And so just try to gear your priorities towards that, and maybe look at some short form videos if you're thinking news as well.
Mhm. And the one thing that I'm trying is I'm posting every day, and I see about 2 to 5 subs a day, which is I think good, maybe it's not. But I'm trying to post every day because I have heard that it really does help train the algorithm. So I am doing some, like, longer form where it's like an interview, and I'm trying to make sure it looks nice and sounds good, and it goes to the podcasting's, RSS too. And then I'm also trying to just put together my hot takes on things. There's a strategy for every playground, essentially. And, it really does, in my opinion, from what I'm experiencing and from what I'm seeing, it really does depend on what you're capable of, how much content you can create without burning out, and the type of consistency that you can maintain um, in order to build a channel. So those are the things I'm seeing. Any other thoughts on growth before I move on to another topic?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if your kind of strategy, what you're saying is I'm doing some interviews and then I'm doing some individual commentary.
Mhm.
I would almost suggest experimenting with two channels, because that sounds like one is a podcast and one is a channel.
Ooh.
Only because if you think about YouTube, specifically subscribers, if will your subscriber who just loved your current video love the next video you put out? Meaning, if you did a video where it was you solo and you were doing commentary about stuff, and someone was like, I love this, I want to see her talk about whatever in the next video. But then the next video you publish is an interview where the other person's talking a lot, like maybe this video, they might not be inclined to watch that as much because they signed
Mm.
up for you solo. They didn't sign up for an interview show. And so if you want to grow quickly, I would think about consistency and format as well as niche.
Mm.
And so maybe split that off into, there's a channel for the podcast where I do all my interviews, and you plug that. YouTube now has a great collaboration feature where you can have a
Mhm.
video go to two channels where they're
Yeah.
both connected to it. Experiment with that kind of stuff. Maybe create a playlist for the podcast and put that on your main channel so you see that on the homepage. You could do different things like that. But think about, is your next video, everyone who watched your current video, are they going to love the next one? Is it
Mm.
similar? Are they going to like it? So just something to think about in kind of like that consistency of format. And I will say, I try to let the algorithm breathe a little bit. There's
Mhm.
different thinking about when it comes to short form. I would post every single day. When it comes to long form, I try to post every other day at the most, sometimes
Mhm.
leave 2 or 3 days in between, only because for long form content, sometimes it takes a day or two for the audience to find the video or for the video to find the audience. And sometimes if you post another long form video the next day, YouTube is now trying to serve that new video alongside the old one, and you're kind of limiting the possibilities of the audience you might reach.
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
I would say space out those long forms at least by a day or two, but also experiment, like maybe try a different channel, maybe seeing like if I just do my solo videos for 2 weeks and I post one every 3 days, do I start seeing any kind of trend there? And
Mm.
just again, when it comes to experimentation,
Well,
even that.
I mean, how do you then move over all that content to help build that other channel? My for example, now we're talking about me, guys, sorry. But my channel, I have Think Like a Producer because I was testing in August.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I'm going to test out conversation interviews. I'm going to test out monologues where I'm reviewing YouTube podcasts. YouTube podcasts, within a month, I had over 10,000 views on them. It was just one video alone had 8,000 views.
Right.
And I was like, okay, like there's something to this. I probably need to keep this up. But I still had to test. I had 3 things I wanted to test before I committed. And so then I was testing out just me popping on for like 8 minutes, just giving my hot take on things related to new media and related to production to help people give tips. So now it's all on one channel. What do I do? Do I download it all and move it over? I mean, this seems like a lot, and I'm not the only one who says this. Like I have a client who they had their whole channel turned into a show that now is kind of on hiatus, and now they're like, "Well, what do I do with this channel?" It's like 15K. So what do you think?
So I'm looking at your channel right now because
Oh,
I
no.
was curious. Well, because you said one
Don't
got
look.
9,000. Is that the this podcast setup proves you don't need expensive equipment? Is that
I'm sorry, what?
the video that got 9,000 views? Is that this podcast setup proves you don't need expensive equipment? Is that the video you're
So
talking
the
about?
podcast that has had a lot of views is Think Like a Producer, where I give my take, my hot take. And the one video specifically that did excellent was about Rotten Mango. And now I'm
Yeah, I see
planning
it.
out content to support what did well and reviewing YouTube podcasts. But until I get that, launched back up, because it's a lot of work, I'm
Right.
still doing my hot takes. But now you're making me think, shoot, do
Well,
I move everything?
here's a question too, because I don't know this niche. Is Rotten Mango like a popular topic or something that's well known
Oh,
in the community?
so what I do is I go through the YouTube podcasts
Yeah.
and I find people that are talking about news and media and all related to my angle, which is helping people in this new media space, and then I review their shows. They need to be more news focused, media focused, and hers is a crime series.
And does she have a lot of followers?
Yes, yes, huge
Okay.
amount.
So one thing too is like it doesn't matter where you put a video if a channel has low subscribers. If the video is packaged well and it's valuable, it will get views. And
Mhm.
so that's one thing is just to not stress a ton about where you're putting videos or whatever. I'm looking at the thumbnail and the title right now.
Oh God.
It's interesting because one, like when you have a high performing video like that, that is the thing to analyze. Like this is the one thing that
Yes.
I did when I was growing. I had a video that it was my most viewed video at the time. It was about the iPhone 15 and the USB-C port, and it was got like 100 or 200,000 views in like the first few days. Why? You have to ask the question like, why
Yeah.
did that one perform
Mhm.
well? So one, I would say I think it's a great title. That video, this podcast setup proves you don't need expensive equipment. That's immediately intriguing, especially for someone that's wanting to start a podcast who
Mhm.
might not have a great budget. So that's a great title. Also, if Rotten Mango is a popular name that a lot of people
Mhm.
recognize, you put that right big in the middle of the thumbnail, that probably caught some eyes. And
Mhm.
another technique is if you're talking about or commenting on a large creator or someone with a big audience, you put her face right there on the thumbnail as well. So, like, I would create 5 more videos just like that.
Oh, yeah.
A title similar to that with a
Mhm.
creator's face like that. And I see you have a couple other ones, and those did not go as big.
Mm-mm.
Like, yeah, I
And those are
see.
big shows.
Right, like, you have one where, like, the Matt Walsh Show content strategy exposed, and
Mhm.
so you have his face on there, you have the Matt Walsh Show, big text in the middle, literally the same picture of you, which is fine, but that one did not get anywhere near as many views. I
Mm-mm.
would say because, 1, like, Matt Walsh's show's content strategy exposed. I don't know if that, like, will grab someone as a title as much
Mm.
because the first one, this podcast setup proves you don't need expensive equipment. One, think about the total addressable audience, or like the marketing term, total addressable market for any given video. That most viewed video, the market is anyone who's interested in starting a podcast, anyone who's interested in Rotten Mango, and
Mhm.
anyone who might not have the budget to start a podcast. So immediately you have a large potential audience for that kind of video. Whereas the Matt Walsh video, that title is kind of narrowing it. I have to really be interested in
Mm.
Matt Walsh, in his content, and wanting to mimic that content in my own show to be interested in that topic. Now, that's not to say that video is not good. A different title, maybe different text on the thumbnail, you could like experiment. You can even
Yeah.
change that now, even though it was posted 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Change the thumbnail and title and see if it changes. Also, just a little thing, I would take out the TLAP from the title because I have no idea what that means. Like as
See,
yeah.
vidIQ, man. You can
Well,
check my
and
affiliate link for vidIQ, guys. I do like it, but vidIQ, suggested that I have a indicator for each like playlist and podcast so that it's always marked and noticeable so that when it's on my channel, there's some type of coding.
so that if you're
Or I
posting
could take it out.
if you're posting full podcast episodes on your channel as well as solo videos, maybe having that designator is helpful. Again, back to what I was saying earlier, maybe it's experimenting with two different channels. Like I do a tech related channel and I do a tech podcast. I
Mm-hmm.
keep them as separate channels.
Mm.
And it's interesting. I actually did that collaboration feature with my two channels. So in one of my episodes, which we post a video episode every week on my podcast channel, I did a collaboration with my personal channel, which is much larger. And I figured, let me see, like, let me hope. And like one, it didn't change the needle a ton on the viewership of that video. But
Mm-hmm.
two, I actually got a couple comments and they were like, hey, I didn't subscribe to your podcast. I don't want to see this. And I was like,
Ooh.
that was very interesting to me. Which, listen, you're going to get negativity and all kinds of people saying stuff. So you don't let that affect you deeply. But I did think to myself, like, okay, there are people in my audience who subscribe to my personal channel, but are actually not interested in hearing me on a podcast. And that's okay. If they like my personal channel, great. I want them there. But I have not then done a collaboration like that again. And I'm very leery of it because, okay, if someone doesn't want to see my podcast, I don't want them to have to see it in their subscription feed or somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else. So just something to think about, like in separating some of that content or maybe making it so this audience who loves seeing you solo commentate is here. And then this audience who loves seeing you interview people might be somewhere else.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like a lot of work. So I have to really think about it, but it's
Yeah.
a really good point, and I do appreciate that. And
Well,
I think a lot of
don't
people listening will too.
And don't feel like you have to move everything over or start again. Like maybe take your 3 most viewed videos that are interview style, throw them on another channel, and just see how they perform. Publish
Mm,
one a week for a few weeks. See, is there any traction? And
mhm.
promote that channel on your main YouTube channel or maybe on social media, see what happens. And so don't feel like you have to redo your entire thing here. But like we said before, just experiment. See,
Yeah.
is there more, traction if I do this for something else.
At least get the channel and give it a try. So,
Yeah,
for anyone listening who has channels that are essentially a hodgepodge of their career at this point, it's worth testing out and trying new things. But as I keep telling everybody, it is about being strategic, thinking like a producer, and trying to play the game. And if this is where it's at, I mean, we had someone else suggest that shorts should be on their own channel, not on your I know. So it is a game that everyone's playing and testing, and you
yeah.
have to be willing to try new things in order to thrive on YouTube. But for right now, I always tell people like put your land stakes in, claim your plot and start building the house however you can. But what are your
Exactly.
thoughts on shorts? I mean, some guy he was at Podfest. I don't remember who it was. He was like, "Shorts, own channel, long form, own channel." Thoughts?
I'll state again, like, no advice is universal
No.
because every creator, every topic is different.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, if you're posting 3 shorts a day, yeah, put that on their own channel because it's gonna muddy your long form content. For me, I don't have the bandwidth to do another channel just for shorts, and I don't find them valuable for my content on YouTube. My style is I'm an education style channel about
Mhm.
tech, and so my videos are 15 to 20 minutes long. Those don't really pare down well into shorts, and instead I'll make a few shorts for Instagram and TikTok. And then what I use shorts as is if I don't have a long form video in a week, or maybe I have like not have one ready, I'll post a short then. Like if I
Mhm.
had a long form on Monday and I'm not going to have another one till the next week, maybe I'll post a short form on Thursday or Friday. Now, one of the things I've been doing is I will try to post a short every day on Instagram and TikTok. And my Instagram has actually grown from like 3,000 to 30,000 followers in like the last few months, posting every day, having a consistent format. And what's helpful of that is any reel that performs well on Instagram, then I'll post that as a short on YouTube. but you'll see I have much fewer shorts on YouTube than I have reels on Instagram. And I try to be extremely intentional about the shorts. I make them something that's not in my long form video, so it's different. Because I also try to think about, if you look at how many subscribers have notifications turned on, and
Mhm.
I have notifications turned on for a few channels, if they get a notification every day and every time it's just a short form video, is that a good experience? Is that something I want my audience to feel? Instead, I rather have them see the notification. It's a long form video. I want them to tap that notification to watch my video. If I post a short, I want that short to be different. I'll put a couple hashtags in the title so they kind of know it's a short. And I want that topic to be different than I covered in my long form. So I think differently about shorts on YouTube. I post way less, focus on long form there. And then I use TikTok and Instagram as like, I don't even care. I will post whatever, however
Mhm.
often, and try to just post every day on those platforms to see what people respond to, what people
Mhm.
like, and then maybe use a few of them as shorts on YouTube. That's my strategy.
Mhm.
Again, it's different. If you're going to be an only shorts creator on YouTube, then a different strategy might work for that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. That's, yeah.
No, I think that's an interesting strategy, and I've proposed that to people where it's like, just test out your content on TikTok, I'll say to them. Test it out
Yeah.
there, see what people resonate with, because I feel as if TikTok, you get more of an engaged audience if you're talking to camera. So talk to the camera, give some of your point of view there, test it out, and then see if that can help you create long form content on YouTube. Trying to play again this game, playing all the social media feeds to your advantage so that
Yeah.
you can really create content that resonates. And I love that you were able to share some of your strategy. I think that can help everyone who's trying to grow. I mean, we workshopped me a little bit, guys, so there may be some changes on my channel. We're recording this January 30th, so let's see. But there is a lot of data out there showing, that people are watching YouTube on their TVs like traditional television. So, does that impact how you produce your content now? Or are you really creating with just your own personal interests, like what drives you to channels you like?
You have to make stuff that you're passionate about. Otherwise, you will not be in it long term. And so that's step one. Don't choose a topic that you think is popular or is going to gain a big audience, but that you don't care about personally. Because there'll be many months, sometimes years, where you're creating stuff and it doesn't feel like people are watching and it's hard to stay motivated. So you have to choose something you're passionate about. That's number one. Number two, I make things that I enjoy. Sometimes I
Mhm.
will make things that are for the audience and less for me. Like my beginner's guide to Apple Watch. That was more for the audience because I think people will find that valuable. I think evergreen content will be good. Did I enjoy making that video as much? Not as much because it's very like beginner, how to, step by step, very methodical. But most videos I enjoy making. I'm talking about shortcuts, which I love. I'm talking about new features and operating systems, which I get excited about. So you do have to be passionate. Now, when it comes to TV, I'm looking at my stats, and I have about 30% of my viewership is on TV, which is pretty big. Like that's been getting more and more
Mhm.
the last few years. And so I do little things like start putting QR codes on my videos for my
Yes.
TV viewers because clicking a link in the description is not a great experience on the TV. You can't really do it, and they're not going to see all the other YouTube user interface type
Mhm.
flags and end cards. So putting QR codes on screen for that. But I also think, okay, if people are watching on their TV, they're like sat and they're going to be there for a minute. It's okay to go long. And the
Mhm.
biggest thing is people say like, oh, should you post 10-minute videos or 20-minute videos or 3-minute videos? It's like, however long you're providing value to people, that's how long
Yeah.
the video should be. And so when I do a tutorial video and I walk through all the things, if it's 25 minutes, that's how long the video is. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to edit it down to a certain point or extend it past a certain point. There's a little bit of methodology of once you get monetized on your channel, videos longer than 8 minutes, you can put ad breaks in the middle and you can get, there's more AdSense revenue from that. It's not a huge difference, especially when you're just in the growing phase. So I wouldn't, if your video is 7 minutes and 55 seconds long, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Mhm.
But when you start making long form, go for longer than 10 minutes, longer than 15 minutes. If you're rambling and it's not valuable, yeah, don't post that. But if you're providing value the whole time, and I always break down, are you educating, are you inspiring, or are you entertaining? I
Mhm.
put most content in one of those three categories or a combination of the two. I think of Mark Rober, who has a huge channel, Science and Entertainment. He's doing two, educating and entertaining. I think of interview shows like what you're doing right now, a little bit inspiration, a little bit education. So you can take multiple pieces of those three buckets, but think about what is the value I provide? Do I educate, entertain, or inspire? Can I combine a couple of those two and do that for the entire video? And that's how long the video should be.
And that's really great advice, especially for anyone listening who's trying to think about ways to turn your thought leadership into content. Put it into buckets. I always say for your content, you want to think about the four pillars that hold you up, your marketing pillars. If you were sitting on a chair, you have those four legs, right? So, what are the legs that hold you up if you're sitting down? I usually tell them pick four things and rotate. Don't ever feel like you're stuck in one bucket because so many people feel like they can't commit to one thing. Now, on that note, you have committed. You've committed to the tech space, and it's a crowded area, especially on YouTube. So, what do you think helped you build trust with your audience and grow focusing in an area that is very saturated?
Yeah. So if you wanted to grow faster, you probably should have focused more specifically than I did because the tech space is a niche, but within that, you have like Apple iPhone stuff,
Mhm.
you have Android stuff, you have creators who just do smart home. And that's great because, again, if you think back to what I said, if everybody loved this video about smart home, your next video should be about smart home because that's a consistent topic. That is one place where I kind of differed, where I didn't want to be pigeonholed to just one thing. I love smart home. I love shortcuts. I love iPhone. I
Mhm.
also love audio and home theater. So I make videos about all of that. Now, that does mean sometimes a video won't perform as well because now that my audience has grown, I know there's a big chunk of my audience that's about shortcuts on iPhone and not as big about home theater. So if I post a
Mhm.
video about a speaker, it won't get the kind of views, but that's okay because again, I want to be able to talk about what I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
It's still all in the tech niche, but like you're saying, you mix it up a little bit. Now, I will say what is helpful to grow is if you think about your favorite creators or your big creators, it's usually easy to describe them in a single sentence or a single word. And so think about how would people refer to you and is it sticky? Once I started doing more shortcuts videos, I really leaned hard on that.
Mhm.
And so now people will refer to me on social media or in passing as like the shortcuts guy. Now,
Mhm.
there's lots of
I was going to
shortcuts.
say Mr. Shortcut.
Mr. Shortcuts. Some people say Shortcuts King, whatever. And there's lots of other great shortcuts creators out there, Matthew
Mhm.
Castanelli, Federico Vitici. But because I would just had a volume of content that was valuable, people started thinking of me as the shortcuts guy. That's
Mhm.
great. It does feel a little pigeonholed and sometimes like, well, I talk about other things too. That's okay. People will still watch the other stuff. But if you can get known as the thing, that'll be helpful. And you might have a lot of news, former news anchors or people in media following your content. I think about news anchors I see on TikTok, on social
Mhm.
media. I don't even know his name, but there's like the weather guy who dances. He's been
Oh,
on
yeah.
TikTok for
I
years.
love him, Nick.
There, see, like I didn't even know his name, but I knew his shtick and what he did.
Mhm.
And while shtick feels like not maybe derogatory, I don't mean it that way because I know what I'm going to get when I see a video
Every
of
time.
his pop up, and that's what you want to fall into for your audience. When people see my thumbnail and video show up on YouTube, they know what they're going to get. They're going to
Mhm.
get instructive, educational content presented in an easily digestible way, and they're going to walk away having learned something.
Mhm.
That's what they get. And that's not something that they may articulate, but that's what goes through their mind. And so, are you the dancing weather guy? Are you the fast talking reporter? Are you like with something? And if you could think about how can I differentiate myself from all the other anchors out there trying to pivot to YouTube, all the other ones doing social media, what can be your thing that sets you apart? Maybe it's the value, maybe it's the clarity with which you describe things,
Mhm.
maybe it's in what you cover, maybe it's the niche things that you don't see in the headlines. Whatever it is, figure out like your elevator pitch, for lack of a better word, how people will describe you, and then go down on that.
Mhm. I love that. And, for everyone listening, you guys remember, check out Stephen Robles. I put his Instagram as well as his YouTube links in the description. I also wanted to just really dig into the fact that, so many people are trying to get that fast win. I was with this one team where they thought we're going to be monetized in moments. And it didn't. It took months and months and months. And even when monetization came, it wasn't much. So, do you have any insight on monetization that's worth sharing. Like, people think they're going to be hitting the jackpot, and I just keep saying it's not always the case.
You cannot do this for money.
No.
I'll just say, like, social media, YouTube, like, that cannot be your goal. I mean, maybe you have a goal to be an independent creator one day. Don't put a timeline on that. Don't let the monetization be the focus. As I was growing my YouTube channel, I mean, you don't make pretty much anything for a
Mhm.
long time. And even now, I have other revenue streams that are more than YouTube specifically. And that's really where you can start monetizing it as a business and think of it that way. The main thing is make stuff that people want to watch. That
Yeah.
sounds simplistic, but a lot of times you might see smaller creators, you might
Mhm.
see videos from people, and you're like, I don't want to watch this. And so that's what you don't want to be your content described as. You make stuff that people want to watch. And that needs to be the whole focus from the beginning. What do people find valuable? What do they keep coming back for? And if you want to grow fast, cover a trending topic, look at big creators out there, but you can't expect big growth. There were lots of videos I
Mm-mm.
put out there that I thought were going to blow up. One of my earliest videos, I um, I had tweeted about where creators store their video footage, or if they delete their video footage once they're done editing a video. And like MKBHD, the biggest tech YouTuber, he commented on my tweet. Then I just seen a bunch of big YouTubers, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to make a video of this because it's all the biggest names in tech, and it's going to be huge." That video flopped. It has like hundreds of views. It's still on my channel. It's one of my earliest ones you can view. And like it was disappointing at first, but
Mhm.
it was an experiment. And I
Yes.
can go back and like in retrospect, I could probably see like why this didn't hit a
Mhm.
YouTube audience very big. Most people maybe not care about whether your video footage or whatever. And so you experiment, but with monetization, like if you're trying to make this a business from the beginning, do start thinking about what are like the 5 or 6 different ways that I can monetize my content. YouTube AdSense is one. You're not going to see a lot until you're getting like a million views a month across all your videos, which takes having a back catalog of videos, which takes
Mhm.
time. So that's like step one is it's going to take a long time and growing an audience. Two, you can start doing affiliate type revenue if that works in your kind of content. Amazon affiliates, look for affiliate stuff from like ConvertKit or other subscription based products because that's ongoing affiliate revenue for whatever you might be using and you could
Mhm.
tell your audience about. Think about memberships and additional content or courses. Do you have people joining a community and upselling on certain things? Is it a paid Substack or whatever? So you can have monetization there. You can try selling products on your own, whether it's digital products like,
Mhm.
PDFs or handbooks or courses or whatever, or things like that, or merch, but merch really hard to make a lot of money unless you have huge volume. So think about from the beginning, like what are the ways I can sustainably monetize different areas of my passion? Do I have enough bandwidth to create content that people pay for in addition to the free content? And then go from there. Try to and look
Yeah.
at all. And Jay Klaus is another great creator to look at. He talks about monetization strategies and
Mm.
all that. And once I've been doing an independent creator business for a year, I'll make a video on my channel about where I made money. So you can be on the lookout next year for
Yeah,
that.
no, that's great. And, talking about the affiliates, I actually do have products that get sent to me, and I don't know what list I'm on. And they'll just say, here, we're sending you all this stuff. Can you make content? Can you do a video about how to light yourself with glasses? So I had glasses sent because I wear glasses, but I don't really wear them online. So I was like, oh, I guess this will be fun. So I made this video and it was a great way to make some money, to also get some new glasses. They're the pair I wear now. And, now I have some red light therapy. But incorporating it into your channel also needs to be part of your strategy. For me, whenever I get those affiliate pitches, I'm like, well, if it doesn't fit in the umbrella of how to help someone become on camera ready and think strategically about their appearance and how they look on camera, I can't do it. So you also don't want to be taking on affiliates that don't work.
Yeah, I would say I say no to a lot of things now
Yeah.
because I get a ton of pitch emails every day. So yes, it has to be consistent. It has to be something that your audience would already be
Mhm.
interested in. And I would also argue like don't do it just for affiliate revenue. I would encourage
Mhm.
people like if a company wants to send you a product and they want you to agree to make a video about that product, but they're not paying you directly,
Mhm.
I would not do that. I would say,
Yeah.
you can send this to me. I can't guarantee coverage. If you want to sponsor the video or I'll make a dedicated short about this, here's my rate. And,
Mhm.
make that
Pushback.
rate push back. Yeah, make that rate applicable to your audience size. but have them at least pay, a couple $100 or more if you have a bigger audience to say, you can pay me this and I'll make a video about it. Otherwise, you can send it and I can't promise anything. And you can
Mhm.
see what they do. A lot of times they'll send it to you anyways. And then the affiliate side, like I would not take a deal just based on the affiliate revenue of that product, meaning we'll send it to you for free. You're required to make a video and you'll get paid just by the affiliate revenue. I'm like, no, that's okay. Uh,
And to add
yeah,
to that, like, that affiliate revenue is nothing. So I
right.
started UG Work 2 to 3 years ago, and at first you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get 15% off all the sales." I think I made, like, 1 sale in that first group, and I got, like, $1, and I was like, "Hmm, okay.
Right, and
That's not great."
affiliate revenue is a volume game. Like, you need to
Yes.
sell a lot of products or expensive products, and again, it needs to be consistent with your audience. So, that's one of the reasons why, like, I would start your affiliate accounts now because you never know later if your audience is larger and they see your older content. Be great if those affiliate links are just there, but it's really focused on growing your audience first
Mhm.
because that large audience is then what unlocks all the things, whether it's memberships, communities, affiliate revenue. You have to grow first before you do that. Set it all up now, have it ready, and share the links anyway, but don't make that a big part of your business and spend a bunch of time on that early on.
No, I mean, I was focusing on tripods and tech for a while. I mean, I was really every day talking about, my tripod, the lights, like what you need. And I was basically a tripod saleswoman on Amazon. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I sold like 30 tripods. Like, how much did I make? It was like $1.30. I was like, oh, like that's not.
You have
So
it
you
right,
do need
right.
volume. So
Yes.
true. And
And it's
that's a
also
reality check there.
And it's difficult to
Mhm.
like reels and TikTok and even shorts. There's not a great way to make it easy to buy something. You have to say
Mhm.
link in bio, or you can use an automation service like ManyChat on Instagram to send
Mhm.
links via DM. But I do not see the same volume there as opposed to on like long form YouTube videos where I can put a bunch of links in the description and I can see the numbers. A lot of people click it there. You can also do things like have your website have a newsletter and drive people to that. If you want to get all these recommendations and easy links or all my equipment that I recommend, sign up for free and I just send you the email. So you can think of ways to kind of like, you know, not double dip it, but have a way to like have people sign up for your email, which is great because now you have a marketing channel, but then you send your affiliate links that way, which is a way that people click stuff in an email rather than in a reel or a TikTok.
Do you have a Substack? I don't think I saw one.
No, and that's actually something I'm not starting a Substack, but I do want to put more concerted effort into newsletters
Mhm.
soon. So I don't have one now just because I didn't have the bandwidth to do it. But I think that is an important part of any creator business. Anything that gets you outside the algorithm, mainly giving you access to your audience directly, like an email list, like a podcast, audio RSS specifically. Those are channels that you want to be growing in addition to your social media platforms or algorithmic. Jay Clouse, he talks about this, but discovery versus relationship platforms. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, those are discovery platforms. That's where you
Mhm.
grow. That's where people find you. A relationship platform is when you have direct access to your audience, like 99% of the time. That's an email list, an audio podcast. That is a community
Mhm.
membership, things like that. And
Yeah.
so you focus on the discovery first, but you always want to try and move people to that relationship platform as much as you can.
Such great advice. Now, I really want to talk about your circle platform that you have, your community. So let's make time for that. Before I do need to ask, how did you start to become confident enough to show up? Like, if you were to look back, was there ever a moment where you questioned whether it was the right decision or whether to continue or whether you were the right fit for what you were trying to do?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I actually started my YouTube channel in 2020 during the pandemic, where a lot of people did. I made 3 videos and they flopped, like, they didn't do well, and so I was like, "Okay, well, never mind. I'm not gonna try this." And I made a couple videos over the years, but I didn't start doing a concerted effort until about 2.5 years later. Ironically, those very first 3 videos on my channel, the oldest videos, I have great views now. There's like 50, 60,000 views. I still get comments on them because they still provided value. And that helps also prove to me like I had something there even at the very beginning when no one was watching. And so there's lots of times where I was like, maybe this is not a thing. Maybe this can't really be a full time thing.
Mhm.
But I had to decide in myself, like, I really want to do this. I believe that long form videos that I can really provide value for people. And I really believed that in myself. And so I said, I'm going to do this for a year straight no matter the outcome, no matter the viewership, no matter the subscribers, I'm going to do a year straight, at least one long form video a week, try to aim for 2 to 3, post consistently, and see what happens. And I
Mhm.
think that's a commitment a lot of people need to make today. Like a year, or Mr. Beast says, like 100 videos, no expectation of viewership or subscribers, monetization, forget about all of that. Just say, I'm going to do this for a year consistently, give it my best effort, and let's see what happens.
Mhm.
And throughout that year, you can evaluate. Maybe I should try this better. Let me do a lot of experimentation, especially in those early stages. But I had to commit to that year. And first year of giving concerted effort, I think I went to like 40 or 50,000 subscribers or something like that. And I was like, okay, this, I might be able to do this. Let me commit to another year. And then
Mm.
3 years later, I was independent full time. And so just commit to doing
Just
it.
commit. Oh my gosh. I just started committing in August, so I'm, slowly growing.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
hard. So anyone listening, like, it's a lot of work, but as someone who was producing 2 to 3 shows a day, like, I can crank out content. It's
Right.
just now trying to figure out the strategy behind it, and a lot of people will see me and say, "How are you everywhere? How do you do it all?" It's all about strategy, it's all about thinking it through and planning. You have a large YouTube channel. You're also the face that I see on Riverside, and you're talking at conferences. So do you feel known?
At conferences sometimes, but pretty much nowhere else. I think there's been one instance where just randomly in public they were like, "Hey, I love your YouTube videos." That was
Mm,
kind of the other one. If I go to a podcasting conference, definitely, because being
yeah.
on the Riverside homepage is that. But if it's all right, can I share my screen for a
Oh,
second?
yeah, I think so. Can
I
you?
want to
Can you take over?
show my YouTube growth chart. And so this is like the lifetime subscribers over the years. So as you can see, I started
Mhm,
in 2020, November 2020 at 0. And, I posted those few videos, and you could see 2 years later, I'm still like, I think I was in 100 or 200 subscribers. So like, or here we go. I hit 1,000 like 2 years later or whatever.
mhm,
And then again, another year, 2023, I was in like that 5,000, 8,000 in 2023. And then you start seeing a little bit of a hockey stick curve.
mhm.
And so it was a long time. It's a long time
Yeah,
of consistent effort. Like from 2022 to 23, I got to whatever this is, like a few thousand subscribers, posting a video or two long form videos every day, 4,800 by
wow.
2023. Like, that's not a lot in like a year's
Yeah,
span. But being consistent means like this might be on the other side of your effort. And you don't know
mhm.
until you actually commit to doing it long term.
Yeah, it's so true and hopeful. You're giving us hope. I mean, I started my YouTube when I left my full-time job at CNN. So it was the end of 2022. So I usually like probably 2023.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to put myself out there, and it wasn't consistent and I never committed and it was like taking months off so anybody who's listening, if you really want to get a go with it, I am hoping you're taking away from this conversation that you really need to have a plan in place. You need to have a niche, a focus, as Stephen was saying, like a bucket that you really want to put your content in every time you're showing up. And you really want to have some effort, but you also need to have distribution. Like, how are you getting people to your channel? So now that you've been growing your channel, you've left Riverside, you're now doing this as a full time job, as an independent creator, you're creating a community. So tell us more about what this community is and how people can get into your community and what they gain from it.
Yeah, so if you love shortcuts and automation, that's what my community is about. And like I said, that's what I became starting to get known for on the channel and what I'm most passionate about. Honestly, I just love shortcuts. I'm a nerd at heart. And so I created this community and circle. One, because I was like, you know what? I think, one, I want to move people off a discovery platform out of the algorithmic world, and I want direct access to them. And there's some great shortcuts communities out there. There's a very active subreddit. But I was like, I think I can create a place where people will share shortcuts and ask for help, and they can interact with me directly. And I think it'll be beneficial. And kind of by accident, I started that community. It grew a little slowly. And then it started really picking up traction without me doing much, just having people in there. I would post periodically once or twice a week. And then I was like, wait a minute, if I put concerted effort, what happens then? And so I
Mm,
realized, what can I offer some benefits that are paid? And so I started doing a $5 a month membership or $50 a year. And I started saying, well, I'll put all my shortcuts database style in there so people can search. Because that's one thing that's hard to do on YouTube is like I have literally 63 shortcuts videos, and
Mhm.
finding a shortcut I mentioned 2 years ago is kind of hard on YouTube. I was like, okay, well, I'll make a database people can search. That's easy. I'll share a shortcut every week that's new before it hits YouTube, and that could be a paid benefit. And then just recently, in the last 3 months, I was like, you know what? I think I can do a weekly live stream. I wanted to do more live streams, but I didn't want the pressure of doing it on my main YouTube channel. So I'm doing live streams just for paying members. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, the community started growing exponentially, and a lot of people started moving to that paid supported tier. And now it's a really the biggest part of my creator business. And so if you find, again, provide value to your audience, they will follow you. They will even pay you. And if you are consistent with it there, they'll stick with you. And I get such wonderful comments of like, hey, this shortcut is really useful. It provide, I really
Mhm.
love this. I learned so much here. Like that really means the world, even more than getting paid, more than a big following. When someone says like this shortcut really helped me or was really
Mhm.
useful to me, that really means a ton. And on the same token, I launched something that kind of failed. Not really failed, but I wanted to do a higher paid thing. I launched Shortcuts University, which was it's a 13-week cohort where I'm going to teach shortcuts from the beginning, 101,
Love that.
every step of the way. And I was really excited about it. I made a YouTube video about it, and I basically made the YouTube video the first lesson. So it's like a 30-minute video and me showing like, here's what it's going to be like. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to build shortcuts on your own. You'll walk away with full knowledge of it, and I charged $500 for a 13-week course, and then you get access to the
Wow.
recording,
Were
which
you it was all recordings?
I was gonna do it live. It's gonna be
Oh, got
live.
it, got it.
So
I
webinar
was like, "That's a
style.
lot." Yeah.
It was gonna be webinar style, and so
Mhm.
they can interact with me in the chat, and then the recordings will be available forever. I was gonna have assignments every week and help people individually, and I thought compared to other courses that are shorter, that's actually way less.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
there are
that's what I was
courses
thinking.
there's like
There's a lot of
5,000,
access to you.
I thought so too. On YouTube, the response was really negative.
Hmm.
They said, "This is way too much. You're being greedy," all this
Ooh.
kind of stuff. And it was really disheartening to see those comments. And so I took that video down off the YouTube channel and I said, maybe this was a bad idea. This was a
Mhm.
failure. And after that initial YouTube comment interaction, I sent out an email to everyone in my community, which is about 6,000 people. And I said, hey, I launched this thing. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, because I already took the video down. There were some negative comments. If you feel like this is too much, like, don't sign up. Please, like, you don't have to sign up. Just keep going on YouTube. All the free content is there. And I got some amazing emails.
Mhm.
Literally, all of the feedback was positive, and they were like, "You provide so much value. Even if I can't afford this, I understand why you charge this much. I'm sure it's going to be way more valuable than that." And all the wonderful comments from people. And I'm still moving forward with it, and I have a bunch of people signed up. But they didn't sign up from YouTube. They signed up because they were in my community and they
Mhm.
were connected to me personally, individually, through that mechanism. And so that was instructive for me to say, okay, the people that follow me on YouTube, they follow me freely for free content, and asking them to pay that amount for something that they get seemingly for free on YouTube. And it's very hard to distinguish the value of like a 13-week cohort style course versus a YouTube video. I was like, that's not the audience for that. And so, as you think as a creator, how am I going to monetize? I want to do courses and maybe charge this amount. Think about what audience is going to convert for that kind of product. Clearly, for me, even a large YouTube audience was not going to convert. But the people that sign up to my email and the people who join my community, those are the people that are interested in that kind of product and will pay and do understand the value. And so start thinking about how do I filter out the people that are really invested in the kind of content I make, who really find the value, and then how can I work with them, monetize certain products that are valuable to them going forward. That's a recent lesson for me.
Mhm. Oh, that's great. Guys, this was such an in-depth conversation, and I hope it was very useful for you. If you're enjoying it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out everything Stephen has to offer on YouTube, and even look at that community that he's offering on Circle. It sounds really cool, and I will have links again in the description. Stephen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.